You strained and torn your hamstring muscle. What can you do in order to get it better? The good thing about muscle tears is because muscles have a high level of blood supply, they adapt really quickly. So you can progress through a muscle tear rehab a lot quicker than you can progress through a tendon-based rehab where the tendon lacks blood supply and needs a lot more time for progression. Most people, when they tear their hamstring muscle, will rest and do absolutely nothing at all. And that's probably one of the worst things you can do. The early stages and trying to find just the right amount of load is crucial to make sure you're getting what we call neovascularization. That's the formation of new blood vessels in the area of the tear so that the muscle fibers are healing and regenerating the right way. If you rest, you do nothing at all, you get a lot of building and bridging of scar tissue. And unfortunately, scar tissue doesn't have any potential to contract and engage, which then inherently and long term is going to affect the quality and the strength of that hamstring muscle and might put you in a position where you might pick up progressive hamstring strains in the future. Let's talk about how you can start to load up your hamstring muscle. If your hamstring muscle is really irritated, you don't have a lot of strength, you're best to start off with a double leg isometric hold. It's a great way of getting those muscle fibers activated without putting too much strain on it. From the isometric holding, you can start to then bring in some movement. So you can start to work on getting the bridge to go up and down, doing that either double leg or single leg. Once you can tolerate that movement, we want to start to bring in eccentric style training. So this is where you're lengthening the muscle fibers as they contract. A Romanian deadlift is a great movement to do here. You can start off with a light dumbbell or a kettlebell. You can eventually progress to a barbell and then a single leg variation of the Romanian deadlift, which is called a B stance Romanian deadlift. It's not entirely single leg, and the beauty of this is it takes away the stability challenge. The issue with single leg RDLs is it's largely predicated on stability and less on strength. Whereas a B stance variation allows you to keep stability by keeping the opposite leg on the ground just through your forefoot and keeps a lot of the focus on the single leg doing the work. And once again, you can load up a B stance with a dumbbell or a barbell, depending on where you are in your journey. And it's a great movement to do. Really biases one leg from the other, but you have to be ready for it. And finally, your hamstring is your powerhouse muscle. It's what works harder when you go from an easy run to a track run. So bringing a level of plyometric movement and high rapid velocity movements is super important to conditioning that hamstring and get it ready for the work ahead. So the exercise that I like to add in at this point is called a hamstring tantrum. It's where you lift your bottom off the ground onto an elevated platform and you're banging your heels into that platform like you are a drum. You can start off with a slow, easy tempo drum beat, and then over time you can start to increase the frequency of that drum beat, increasing the activation and the demand of that hamstring. This is best done in really small doses, 5 seconds on, 5 seconds off, maximum of 10 seconds worth of working time, but then making sure you're getting 10 or 15 seconds worth of rest break. And you'll know why when you're doing it, because it's very hard and you need to make sure the muscle is ready to then go in for the next set, good quality. Things to avoid when you've got a torn muscle is stretching. You can imagine if you've got a t-shirt with a hole in it, you're not going to stretch it. That's going to make things worse. Stretching is much the same. It's not going to allow those fibers to heal and get into the right formation and shape if you keep stretching it. Reserve stretching for later down the track once you're bringing in some more high level work and you're ready for it and the muscle's gone through its healing phase. As always, it's important to make sure your rehab process is guided by a professional, either a physiotherapist or a rehab specialist in your home country, so that way you're graduating through the phases of rehab in the appropriate way and you're returning to running back to full strength.